Welcome, everyone. My name is Sahar Nafal, founder of the Soulful Leader community and Soul Guidance Mentor, Inner Clarity Mentor, and Unity Visionary. We hold these every single month. And one of my gifts is to facilitate and create spaces where women from all backgrounds feel seen, heard, valued, and connected. Spaces where they can reconnect with their own wisdom, remember who they are, and experience a true sense of belonging. The Soulful Leader community, where I belong, you belong, and we all belong. Our community is growing, and with that comes more connections, more growth, and more belonging. Whether you are brand new to the Soulful Leader community or a longtime Soulful members, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your presence is truly a gift to each and every one of us. So in addition to our monthly social gathering, I also love to invite you to join our Soulful Leader community Facebook group of 3,500 beautiful souls. This is where you will learn about our upcoming Soulful Leader gathering, enjoying inspirational posts and insights, connecting, and supportive community of people are living with greater purpose. You'll be meeting them, connection, and a sense of belonging. Again, we bring back that, belonging to that beautiful community of all of us being like-minded. You'll also have the opportunity to share your own businesses, services, offering, events, and what you're creating as we support one another. So the next hour and a half, I invite you to surrender to what is and know that right here, you are safe, you are supported, and you are loved. I'm going to be sharing the home framework, HOME, and the H stands for honoring your wisdom. And this is what this session is about. We're going to explore and go deeper about honoring your wisdom, belonging to you, again, the journey back home to yourself. So this teaching I'll be sharing this morning teachings are part of the foundational framework of my new, but not so new, body of work, belonging to you again. Belonging to you again isn't a new body of work. Actually, it is my work that's coming home to its essence. It's coming home as a natural evolution of my life's work. In fact, when I first started my coaching career, the name of my business was I Belong Coaching. 20 years ago. So over the past years, I've been reflecting on the teachings and the topics and that are mostly aligned with my core messages, helping people return to themselves, trusting their inner wisdom, and live from this place of authenticity, purpose, and belonging. And what I have come to realize, ladies, like many of you, that this topic of belonging has always been at the heart of my work. And I know some of you might relate. It's always been, for me, it's been always woven into or through my branding, my talks, my interviews, workshops, so-called stories, right? And trainings. 20 years. In fact, it's been with me since I was born. And it's been with you, the core message, since you were born. And now I've realized something important. Belonging is no longer something I am teaching. It's something I'm embodying because now I belong to me. After years of feeling separation, not fitting in, and searching for where I belong, I could honestly say I belong to me again. And this is such a beautiful discovery. It's an awakening of me belonging to me again. If you've been navigating change, seeking clarity, trying to rediscovering yourself or longing for a deep connection with who you truly are, then you are in the right place today because this is what's going to be all about. Together, we're going to be beginning the journey back home, first to ourselves and then to each other. So this work is rooted in what I call the home framework. And this morning, we will begin with H, as I mentioned, honoring your wisdom, honoring the lessons that have led you back home to yourself. Honoring your wisdom. Honoring means recognizing, valuing, and trusting. Okay? When we honor our wisdom, we are recognizing our own life experiences, valuing our own life experiences, trusting our own life experiences, because no one else can do that for you. No one. And I'm sure many of you have lived life where Everyone tells you what you and who you are and what is valuable to you and who you are, right? The wisdom that you have gained through your life, ladies, belongs to you and only you. The journey back home is always available to us. It's always there for us because many of us like spent years looking outside of ourselves for approval, for validation, for permission, for a sense of belonging, forgetting that the journey back home begins with us. I've spent most of my life moving. I'm 62 years young, and I've moved maybe about 35 to 38 times. That's how deep that sense of belonging, not fitting in feels, because every place and space I lived in, because I never felt a sense of belonging within myself. I kept moving, thinking this new place that I'm moving to, or new country or new state will help me belong. Yet everything we have ever experienced, every challenge, every joy, every lesson, you have been leading it's been leading you back home to yourself and the wisdom, the belonging to you and only you. These experiences that you have, you know, experienced, they only belong to you. You weren't created to be a copy of anybody else. You were not created to be, you were created to be unique, right? To be one of the kind. No one has lived your life. No one has had your experiences. No one has learned your lessons. And no one carried a unique wisdom that you do. Yet so many of us spend our lives listening to the opinions, criticism, expectations, and directions of others, right? We've listened to our parents, we've listened to our spouses or partners, we've listened to our teachers and coaches, we've listened to our peers, we've listened to our siblings, our family members, even our adult children. Everybody has their own experiences and sometimes their own opinion. They want to reflect it on us. And sometimes we comply, we conform, and we live according to someone else's expectations because we believe that that's what it takes to fit in and to belong. Belonging is one of the highest attributes in Maslow's pyramid of self-actualization. It's one of the highest. We're creatures that need each other and we need to belong. And unfortunately, a lot of times, based on where you're at in your life, this belonging can be, it could be damaging to us. Because in order for us to want to fit in, I remember, I'll tell you this, the truth is like my own immediate family, I really strived so hard to fit in, to belong. And we try our hardest to fit in this mold that just doesn't feel right, right? But the true belonging isn't found in becoming who others want you to be. It's found in becoming more of who you really are. And I know it's easier said than done. I'm going to give you some tools of the best way that you could recognize your wisdom and in your stories and exactly who you are and about the core of who you are. So because the answers are always the answers we're seeking is always are not somebody else's life. They are within you. And I can't emphasize that enough. They come from your wisdom. They come from you gained through your own life experience. The wisdom that belongs to you, the only you, the wisdom that belongs to your lives and your stories. And your stories isn't just a collection of memories. It's where your wisdom was born, right? It's if your story doesn't have to sound like anybody else. What if your story doesn't have to sound like anybody else? What if the very experience you have been comparing, or the questions you are one that make your voice authentic? What if these stories is what makes you authentic? Your message powerful, your journey unique to yours. And often we feel like we're ashamed to share our stories because of the adversities that we've been through. For now, I'd like you to begin thinking about your own story, because your story is where your wisdom lives, your wisdom of what you have survived, ladies, the wisdom of what you've learned, the wisdom of your triumph, your heartbreaks, the wisdom of no one else can claim, because it's only yours, and the wisdom that belongs to you. For years, our wisdom eventually became our teachings. Think about that. So we go from wanting to belong, we go through all these experiences, and we evolve and grow and have these stories, adversities, and then eventually it becomes our teachings, right? What am I doing now? I'm teaching about belong because it's been my challenge all these years, right? And people look at me and they go, judging, right? Oh, look at you. Why do you feel lack of belonging, you know? And I'm sure many of you have experienced that. It's my story and it's my experience, because the experiences that challenge you, the lessons that change you, the healing you have done, the obstacles that you've overcome, these often become very gifts that you're here to share with others. You know, as teachers and coaches and healers and speakers and leaders, whatever it is that you're here to do in this world, we don't simply teach what we have learned from books, what we have learned from others, what we have, all these certifications that we accomplish and we acquire. We teach what we have lived. It comes from our transformation. Your life experiences becomes your wisdom, and your wisdom becomes your teachers. I want you to write that down, that my life experiences become my wisdom, and my wisdom becomes my teachings. And when your teachings become someone else's transformation, woof, this is when it all happens, ladies. That's why honoring your wisdom isn't just a gift to yourself. It is a gift for everyone whose life you have touched. It's not because you open a book and you read all about it, or you listened to this teacher or this or that, or went to a seminar or workshop, or had this inner work with this transformational teacher. It's the experiences. I can't emphasize that enough. And one day, there's going to be a moment, perhaps some of you have already experiences, that you're going to wake up and you go, oh my goodness, I get it now. I get it. And a little bit, I'm going to be sharing some of the concepts and teachings and an exercise that you can do in order for you to really recognize the patterns within your stories and where it leads you. There's always a thread, because early on when I started the Bright Side of Life women's community in my family room, I spent much of my time sharing the wisdom and teachings of other teachers. I've read a lot of books. I've went to every seminar you could ever imagine. I've spoken on stages even. But many of you may remember The Secret. Remember The Secret? Early in 2008, 2009, became very popular, the law of attraction. And I was teaching that was available to me, right? I didn't really know that these stories or the adversities that I was going through, and I was going through a lot during that time. I didn't realize that wisdom within me is the teachings that I'm supposed to be doing, but I did show up. What I didn't realize at the time was that I wasn't fully trusting my own wisdom. A lot of time, that wisdom of all the stories there, our experiences, we don't trust it enough. And again, it's the outside influence, and it's also the inside influence. It's our doubt, our shame. Like many of you, I have learned to trust the wisdom of others more than mine. I had to learn to fit in rather to fully belong. I had to learn to look outside of myself for answers that had been within me all along. Over the years, I discovered some of our greatest wisdom doesn't come from books and teachers and mentors. It comes from our own life experiences. And I'm going to continue to say that to you, ladies. It needs the original version of you, the authentic part of you. So let's have some fun, shall we? So you could share. We're going to give you an opportunity a little bit to share one life experiences that is so unique to you that only few people, perhaps no one, has ever experienced exactly the way you have, right? And we want to keep it light, meaning a fun experience, meaning could be something you're really good at, a sport or a hobby, or it could be an experience of you traveling somewhere, someone you met that's fabulous and amazing. Just we're going to keep this light because we want to have fun as well. So after I share mine, you'll have the opportunity to either share it in the chat, and I promise you I will read all of them, or raise your hand if you'd like, and I'll be choosing two, possibly three, depending on our time and how we're doing, to share your own story. And you get 1 minute, okay, ladies? And Bailan will be timing you. And I invite everyone else to really listen. And what you're listening for, not just the story, listening for some clues of perhaps of who she is and the experience that she's had. You'll be surprised of the stories that people share and the wisdom that you could even pick up from them. So I'm going to go ahead and start with one of my favorite stories that I really don't share with a lot of people. And I do believe I'm the only one who did this story. Again, think of a story as I'm sharing mine. What is the unique story that you have experienced in your life? So when I was 29 years old, I was married and I had my baby first daughter. I managed a travel agency in Los Altos for the promoter of Luciano Pavarotti. Mr. Rudis was the promoter of Luciano Pavarotti, the opera singer. And I walked in for the interview, and I had a lot of experience because I used to manage and I worked with my dad at the time in his own travel agency. He owned a chain of travel agencies, and the one I worked in was in San Francisco, the Mission District. And so I had a lot of experience. So I walked in with confidence with my resume. And one of the things I noticed was pictures of this guy with a beard and a big guy, and the word Pavarotti across. One of my responsibilities, in addition to managing about 5 people there, was arranging his travel and accommodation, issuing his tickets. I was the one, this is where the story is, issued the tickets for the historic Three Tenors concert in Los Angeles. This 29-year-old was the one who arranged a lot of things for this big concert. Well, not only was it Pavarotti, but it was also, I have to pronounce this, Placido Domingo and Jose Carreras. And for those of you who are opera singers, it's just a dream, right? And I still have some of the stubs, by the way, of these tickets. I don't know if they're valuable. So I also, when I was there, I also created the Pavarotti in concert tours for the die-hard fans. It was 1993, and one of the most amazing experiences, I took a group of about 25 people to Central Park, where there was 500,000 people there. And it was my first time meeting Luciano Pavarotti. And by the way, Pavarotti loved 3 flavors. Are you ready to know what they are? Blondes, brunette, and redheads. Every time in his trailer, he had 3 beautiful women standing behind him, even though he was married, but that's the Italian in him. But anyway, that's my story. Now, another thing, there is wisdom in this, right? A teaching in this story, which is the early stages of me organizing, creating groups experiences. Like I was a tour guide. And this is the beginning when I was 29 years old. Actually, I've started creating things before then, but still, it's one of the experiences that I've had. So now we need 2 courageous women to raise their hand. And the rest of you, please share in the chat. It could be just a short phrase, something experience that nobody has created. Let's go ahead and start with Sean. I'd love to hear from you, Sean.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone. So really quickly, in 2023, my family and I, we went to Nairobi, Kenya, to go on a safari. And we were supposed to go before the pandemic, but things pushed off. And so when we were in Nairobi, we got in around early in the morning, 5 a.m. We had to sleep to get adjusted to Nairobi time. We went downstairs in the Hotel Serena to have breakfast. And right across where we're sitting, we met a woman, Elizabeth Mwakajila, and her husband, Mr. Ayo. And for 1 hour, we talked, and she shared with us about her award winning safari business and her nonprofit called Indito Empower Her, where she supports local women in Arusha to get out of poverty. She gives them micro seed grants to have a chicken farm, tomato farm, whatever. So we went on a safari, and for 10 days, my partner and I decided, how do we want to support her? And by the time we got back to America, we had already built a travel boutique named after the Maasai name given to my daughter called Nashapai. And from there, we started taking Black women to East Africa and the money that we raise are supporting different initiatives. So now, 3 years later, we're in the process of building an eco lodge in Arusha, Tanzania, to help local women be employed, and also building a women's reproductive health center so women can have free access to reproductive health care. And the health center will actually train women to be birth doulas and midwives.
Can we all give her a clap? Thank you, Sean. That was so
Wow.
amazing. Wow. Do you ladies see how powerful this story is? And it's only Sean's story and experience. She had a meeting, and from that meeting, developed this, this movement that she's doing. Sean, I can't wait to get on a call with you and learn more about this. Beautiful. I'm going to go ahead with Jean again. 1 minute. Thank you, Jessica. Go ahead. And Sean, you're awesome.
So when I was 27, I went and lived in Korea, Seoul mostly, because I had been through a lot and sort of just didn't know where else to go to heal at a certain level. Um, so when I got there, I actually met this incredible avant-garde dancer who had had a career in New York City. She went to Korea when she was 26, coming from the countryside in Korea and studying English in Seoul. And she was just such an incredible figure. And she created this outdoor festival, kind of like a mini Burning Man when she got back, which was right around the time that I arrived in Korea. And several people had told me that I should meet her, that my dance style was similar to hers. So I did meet her, and I served at her festival every year for 6 years. And I got to meet top tier, internationally famous Asian artists who I might have actually taken workshops with in Seattle. So I had such an opportunity to be a bridge across cultures. There'd be a lot of foreigners that would come to the festival, country people from, Korean country people from the area who were making the kimchi. And it was such a rich cultural experience. And I just felt three-dimensional. I felt like I actually had an ability to see into both the West and the East and be a bridge at that high level that was just so fulfilling.
Yay! Let's give her a big round of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's go ahead. I think we'll take Lynn, and then we'll get back to the teachings.
When I got pregnant, I, I didn't know so much about the situation, except that I had been able to work in the maternity area at Alto Bates Hospital, a local hospital in California. And becoming familiar with the birth process put me into choosing a home birth. And it was the most empowering experience. My
Wow.
husband wasn't quite sure. I said, fine, go to the hospital. I'll meet you there if there's a problem. But because I knew how the system worked, it gave me confidence that I could do it. And it gave me a pulpit of sorts to support other women who wanted to make that choice and move out of fear. So being able to experience that was one of the biggest lessons, trusting myself and trusting the process, trusting nature, and
Wow, that's a profound.
and having
Yeah.
the right support.
Wow, that's profound. Thank you so much, Lynn, for sharing. That's amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. One of the things that I am envisioning to do when I begin doing my circles again, I have not led in-person events for a while now. Well, when I lived in Jordan for a little bit in 2024, and I did circles there, but literally in the past 2 years, other than private circles, in Illinois, I had circles where I had women share their stories, and the transformation that happened within that circle was so profound. So my vision in divine timing is to bring those circles back and have women share their stories. And again, we need to share the stories that are so authentic to us. But we have been programmed, those of us who have been coaches and healers, and like to seed our business always in it. There are times for that. But when you share an authentic story from your heart that belongs to you and only you, people see or hear you in a totally different tone. And that's where the connection happens. That's where the belonging, like I wanted to get to know her more. I wanted to, understand her more. It is the power of story. Now, I'm not somebody who teaches storytelling, but I am the one who facilitates spaces for people to share the stories that belong to them. So now I want to share the 4 practices of honoring your wisdom, right? The wisdom that belongs to you and only you, the wisdom that creates the stories within who you are. So how do we honor these wisdom? It's one thing to understand the concept, ladies, but it's another one to live it. So I'd like to share a few simple practices that I've done on my own as well, that you could begin using today in honoring the wisdom and continue your journey back home to yourself. Number one is capturing your wisdom is by taking time to write down the most significant experiences that have shaped your life. The most significant experiences that have shaped your life. We're not talking about small experiences, but these experiences that shaped your life, the transformational, the trauma, the also the fun, the joy. You ask yourself these questions. What happened? What did I learn? And how has this experience helped me become who I am today? Because every story holds wisdom. As you begin to recognize the lessons within your journey, you begin to honor the wisdom that belongs to you and only you. And over time, you'll begin to notice something profound. Because when I did this exercise, oh my gosh, maybe 2010 or 11, it was like a timeline. These patterns often reveal a belief, a core message you have formed. The beliefs are formed about yourself, about others, about the world. And once you become aware of them, you can choose which belief continues to serve you and which you're ready to release, and which one you're ready to teach. Remember, I shared earlier that your wisdom is what you teach, and your wisdom, the timeline. And this exercise, one of the things I also wanted to do is to do a class again. I've done the timeline class where we could all come together and spend 90 minutes or so, or maybe 2 hours, and just writing, the stories and the wisdom that we have learned from these stories and the core message that comes along with this. And like I shared earlier, the belonging piece was always with me, even when I was born, not fitting in, not belonging, traveling all these countries, right? Living in 35 or 38, I lost track actually. I have to go back and count different places or homes, right? Not feeling that sense of fitting in. But the stories that emerged from my life is what I am experiencing right now, because they only belong to me and belong to you only also. So number one is to, again, capture your wisdom and ask these questions. Number two is the frame your stories. So instead of asking, why did this happen to me? You ask these questions. What has this experience taught me? What has this experience taught me? Because the greatest challenge often become your greatest teachings. Again, and these go back to you teaching. I've shared earlier how my first business, I still have the business card. One day I'll share it in a slide that says, I belong coaching. That was the first time when I started after, in a little bit, you'll hear a little bit about my story, but when I stopped working in real estate, I literally wanted to be a coach. And so it was called I Belong Coaching, because I never felt a sense of belonging. And I had no idea until just recently that this is the core message. And you'll discover that as well. Number three is you stop comparing your path. Your journey was never meant to look like anybody else's, ladies, and no one has lived your life. No one has walked your path. No one carried your unique story or your unique wisdom. Comparison disconnects you from yourself and honoring your path. You know how many times when I was going through transition, people would tell me, go get a job somewhere, but there's this pull that's saying, no, I'm not here to get a 9-to-5 job. And I really struggled financially, but my pull was way stronger. My pull of supporting, empowering, inspiring women was way stronger. And I didn't want to compare myself to others. I chose not to listen to others. Again, I've shared earlier how important it is for us to listen to our inner wisdom and not to listen to anybody else to tell us what we're supposed to be doing. And sometimes we do need advice, don't get me wrong, and we need wisdom from others who have experienced some of the things that we have. But your inner wisdom is where you listen, you tune in. Number four is honoring your journey. Stop judging your past. Every experience, whether it is joyful or painful, expected or unexpected, has shaped the person you are. right now. Nothing has been wasted. And you know, I was sharing with my cousin Maha, who's here. Say hello, Maha. She's always coming and holding space. I was sharing with her how the word in Arabic, aib, was so like damaging. Everything we've done, everything we do growing up, oh, this is too shameful. Don't dress like that. Don't do this. You know, you have to do that or this because it's shameful. We're constantly worrying about what others say, constantly living in a place of being judged, of course, with social media right now. So honoring our journey, but who judges mostly is us, right? We judge our own past. We're ashamed because we didn't have enough money, or we are ashamed because we got a divorce, or we are ashamed because of this or that. You get to a point, if you are in this place of your life or season of life, you are seasoned. You have somebody who has lived 50 or 60 or even beyond. You know what? We're going to delete that word. And so when I raised my girls, that word shame or aib, it was never in my vocabulary. I wanted to make sure these girls just flourish and do whatever the heck they want and experience the life they want. My mother, who was a poet, one of her philosophers was Khalil Gibran, and the poem that she read to us all the time. She's a philosopher, artist. She's a poet, a writer, a speaker. One day I'll share my story about her as well. I've shared it in other gatherings. The book, the Khalil Gibran, was like a staple. Probably was our teaching. It's all the philosopher that she had always read to us. The Book of the Prophet. Please get that book if you haven't heard about it. The Book of the Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And one of the stories is about your children. And it says the gist of it, that your children are not the children, they are the children of life. They come through you, but not for you. You are the arrow in which they are the bow, right? And it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And my mom taught us how to like to live our own lives. Of course, there was always the traditional part of the shame, but I had the paradox of both. And that's how I literally raised my girls. I made sure that their experience, they're theirs. And for those of you who are young one like you, Jessica, I want to invite you to allow your children to experience life fully and honor that without judging, because that's how they flourish and that's how they experience life. So honoring your journey and being mindful of judging your past and being okay with sharing it with the world took me a long time for me to do that. Is really, really profound experience of authenticity. Now I want to go back to you, and I have a question to ask you, and this is where we're going to participate. We're doing excellent on time. Before I share my own story, I'd love to hear from you. What questions, reflections, or insights are coming up for you? This is an invitation for you to just tune in. If whatever it is that's coming up for you, whatever it is from listening to the teachings that I've just shared with you, if there's anything that you want to share, again, please make them short. I do want to hear you, and this is interactive. Plus, please make sure you share them in the comments as well. All right, who would like to raise their hand? Any reflection, any aha moments? Somebody who has not yet shared, I would really appreciate it. Okay, Melinda, Marinda, sorry. Let's go ahead and have you share just again quickly.
Well, I just think the awareness that you've spoken about, that all of our experiences are a gift, even when we think that perhaps they're not. And I always go back to the statement of this situation is blessing me now. All I have to do is figure out how, which happens to be later when that is revealed. But that helps me not get pulled into the experience. But I love that our wisdom comes from our stories, and I appreciate you saying that. That just has inspired me to ask the question for
Yes,
myself: what is it that needs to be revealed here about that? Thank
I
you.
love that. Thank you so much. Also, we have Carrie. Welcome, Carrie. Please go ahead and ask your question or share your insight, feedback.
Yeah, first of all, I just have to say, Miranda, spot on. Love it. I love the fact that you're one of my accountability partners as well. And so I realized just how important community is into owning who we be in the world rather than just allowing ourselves to conform. I call it suppress, repress, or depress ourselves. And so you really created a beautiful community for us to shine our light, Sahar. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for
Okay.
the important work that you're doing because in community, it feels less alone when we're so different. So, and the quote or the point I put in the chat earlier was that I see us like we are diamonds, multifaceted diamonds, and if we don't shine our light, if we're not seen, witnessed, and experienced, then we're not able to really shine for it to be that totality. So I just want to say thank you again for having us here today.
Carrie, wonderful. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for that wisdom share. Thank you so much. Is it Anasuya? You want to share something, sweetheart, or no? No? Okay. For some reason, I thought you waved. Who else? Okay, Beverly, let's go ahead and make it short, please. Thank you. Beverly, how are you, sweetheart? You want to unmute
Yes, I'm
yourself?
here. Thank you. Everything here has been incredible. And the fact that I'm 84 and now starting to wake up about all of it. It was all these feelings I've had all my life, and I was told they were wrong. I now
Mm,
know that they were guiding me to where I am now to let people know it's never too late to
yes,
rejuvenate. And we can wake up and understand that all of those feelings were right. That's where I'm at. And I'm going to write
yes.
about that.
Yes, thank you so much, Beverly. Beverly, I'm so honored that you're here. And ladies, it's never too late. I keep telling people, some of my girls, I have 35 and 32-year-old millennials, and I love them so much. They're so amazing. Dima and Maya. Mom, you're old. I go, excuse me, I am still young. And I keep thinking that I have 30 more years. I plan, you know what? Listen, I love staying healthy. I plan to live for another 30 years. I want to be in my hundreds. And
Me
I
too.
want to, yes, good. Who wants to be in their hundreds? Because we have not yet experienced life here on earth. We have been through so much. Enough is enough. Like we all need to graduate from the stage of traumatology, right? We're done with trauma. Who's done with trauma and experiences in life? Raise your hand.
I am.
Right?
I
We're,
am.
we're woke now. That's why we belong here in this beautiful community, because that's the commonality that we have. We have experienced all these wonderful things. We all belong here. We've experienced this. No more shame, no more hiding. It's all about being authentic and experiencing life to the fullest. And we really don't give a darn what people say. How many agree with me, right? We're not going to conform anymore, ladies. That's it. I do have a quick story that I want to share with you because, again, the stories I'll be sharing is not just for me to share about me, but it's something that you get to know me on a deeper level and all the I've been through and why I'm here. So I'm just going to be doing the quick share my story quickly because I want to honor. One of the things I want to do today is to invite you to an experience in just a little bit. In fact, maybe I'll do that first. Let me see here. Yeah, let's do that. I want to make sure. So this is an invitation for those of you who have never experienced the kind of work that I do. I have invitations, a complimentary inner clarity session. As you're experiencing today, coming home to yourself isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you really are and have always been. If today's gathering resonated with you and you feel called to go deeper, I'd love to invite you to experience a complimentary inner clarity sessions because this is a session where we're going to be exploring what's keeping you from fully coming home to yourself. It's to uncover the wisdom within your life experiences. It's to reconnect you with the truth of who you are. And if you're ready to take that next step, your journey, please write the word home. Again, for those of you who are not currently working with me, for those of you who are brand new, for those of you who are curious, this is just a gift from me to you to share with you, right? And honor you. And I'd be honored to support you in anywhere. So you write the word home, HOME, in the comments, and my team will be reaching out to you because we have your contact information and sharing the link with you. And maybe Bailan, you could share the link there for them to schedule their session. Ladies, this is a 45-minute session. It's not 20, it's not 30. And we're going to go deep, and I'm going to be doing energy clearing and balancing. And one of my gifts is it's my own personal gift that I have. I tune in and I do like a body scan. It's a signature body scan. And I see imagery and I receive messages of very unique to you and what's going on in this season of your life. So I'd love that. It'd be an honor for you to do that. And again, Bailan will drop the link for you to schedule right away if you're just guided to do that now, or just copy the link and save it for later. And again, my team will reach out to you. So you could just feel free to write the word home. And if you are listening, and you are somebody who is listening to the replay, thank you very much for being here as well. You get to the opportunity for that as well. So thank you for listening to the replay. All right, so let's go ahead and share about my story, everyone. And thank you for those who just dropped the word home in the comments. I appreciate your trust. So I've always believed, I'm going to repeat this because this is a very, very deeply, it moves me, this quote. I'm going to repeat it again. I've always believed in the idea that each of one of us has a particular place in the universe where we belong. And if we find it, everything will fall into place and we will flourish. And this is what my story is all about. Now, I'd love to share this story of that began my journey on this path of the entrepreneur path, of the being the coach path, of doing my event path. One of the reminders, what can happen. It's reminding me what can happen when we trust our path and honoring our wisdom and simply say yes to what is called for us to do. You know, what's pulling you. Remember I shared with you how everybody wanted me to get a job. I was raising my girls on my own. It was 2008. I left a very abusive relationship of 18 years. And during that time, of course, I lost everything. We had a multi-million-dollar home, the RVs, the boats, the vacations, the first class, traveling the world. We also owned a home overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. So everything from the outside looked perfect, but I was in torment inside the home of this marriage. And I made a decision to leave. It was 2007, end of 2007, when me and my girls escaped. 2008, February of 2008, few months later, I started my events in my home. I wanted to, here's the whole premise of it, the Bright Side of Life community. I know many of you have been to the events, but in my home with 8 women, and it was about me helping women belong to their own lives instead of belonging to somebody else's life. I wanted to save women who are in toxic relationship, who are in abusive relationship. At the time, I went to a 6-month abuse center to help recognize that I was in an abusive relationship, because many people don't even recognize that. And that's one of the things that I really, really wanted to help women and to wake up to the truth. And I lost everything. I went through foreclosure, bankruptcy, IRS auditing. I was going through divorce courts. I was going through child support courts. Everything you could ever imagine was happening during that period of time. And you know what I wanted to do? To follow that pull that's calling me to do something what everyone else tell me not to do, and to follow my dream to support women. That's how strong that pull was. Okay, we were making multi-6-figure income in our real estate, my ex and I. We were making a lot of money, ladies. I didn't come from poverty. My parents raised us well. We've traveled also, so it didn't come from poverty. But I needed to lose everything in order for me to really connect to those who, those who have had nothing. This is one of the experiences that I had to go through, to lose everything. And being a single mom at that time, and coming from all that I had and having nothing, was just the most adverse time of my life. It's been almost 20 years and I still thinking about that 44-year-old single mom. So I really feel for those of you who are young and who have to raise their children on your own, especially for those who have been domestic abuse relationship. I want to take you back at the end of 2007 when that happened and when I started the Bright Side of Life. You know, one of the things that I was thinking about, not being a victim, although of course I sang that song of victimhood, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to go and serve. That's how strong that pull of the calling that I had. Despite of my circumstances, despite of what I was going through, ladies, I wanted to serve. In addition to starting my little circle, which I had absolutely no plans of what I'm doing. All I want to do is just help women. I start asking around if there are groups in the Bay Area that I could go speak with. At the time, I did some speaking in the travel. I mean, when I was working in the real estate, I was speaking to realtors and different groups. So I had experience in speaking and inspirational. So I wanted to find groups of women that I could inspire and empower and support, low income, limited income, poverty, living in poverty, whatever in the Bay Area. And I was given a name of this organization called Women's Initiative for Self-Employment. I believe their base was in Oakland. How many of you heard of Women's Initiative? It's no longer there. And I went on the date they told me to come and speak. And the teacher came out and she was surprised to see me. And I go, hi, I'll be speaking at 11 o'clock this morning in your group. I had no clue what was going on. I just knew that I wanted to speak. And it was a classroom where they're teaching entrepreneurs and business owners or women that want to start their own business. It's called the First Steps. They're on scholarships. And a lot of them are not privileged, you know, they've been through a lot. And so I wanted to go and empower them. Well, that day wasn't the day I was supposed to come because there was a miscommunication in calendars. But I'll tell you what happened next. Oof. This is me being vulnerable. But it's a good thing. She went and introduced me to the person who's in charge of this program. Now, I walked in to empower and inspire these women, but I ended up being part of this program because I qualified. That was one of the most humbling experiences of my life. I was not speaking to them as though I was somebody who had it all anymore. Now I belonged. I was part of this group. I came back the following week and I did speak to them, but in April of that year, I joined the Women's Initiative for Self-Employment. And you know what? I was so proud of myself because I was so humbled to be among some of the most diverse, beautiful women I've ever experienced. And it was an experience of life-changing. And I get emotional because we need to be humble sometimes. A lot of us have lost it all. And when you're among people who have had nothing and hardly anything, and I honestly didn't know how I would fit in because I had it all, ladies. I've experienced the wealth. I've experienced the material wealth. I've experienced the transformation of me living a life that was so amazing and was born with it. I had no idea I was going to cry, but thank God I have a Kleenex here. But what happened next, because I was guided to go serve and I had that poll, was the story I want to share with you. I excelled in doing my business plan for the Bright Side of Life Women's Gathering. I was so good at it. Of course, I came from a background of real estate. I worked and I managed and I excelled and I was such a way shower. I was supporting these women all the time. And they had a program where they wanted to choose Women Entrepreneur of the Year, Women Business Owner of the Year. And I was selected out of the thousands of women who've been through the program. It was me and 6 other women. And that began my journey of some of the most incredible experiences of my life. When I won and honored as the Women-Owned Business of the Year by Women's Initiative, I ended up participating in the Maria Shriver First Lady program. I don't even remember. It was like 2009. Yeah, it was 2009, 2008. I was among some of the most incredible people, Louise Hay, Dr. Oz, just the conference alongside leaders and teachers and dignitaries. Warren Buffett was there. Imagine me, who have lost everything, who decided to go and support, who joined this class that I would have never qualified for, ended up in the same room, in the same space, participating with all these dignitaries, with all these amazing, incredible teachers. That was so honoring. After that, that's when, talk about like, my business just took off. I was published in so many magazines, newspapers, TV interviews. The Wall Street Journal found my story. They published it. I was also, I remember I was Chevron at the time. I lived in San Ramon. They chose me to be the community leader in their conference. They had my picture up in their big conference because it was the headquarters. I don't know if they're there anymore. I received Women Legacy Awards alongside of, I forgot her name, but it was Dr. Oz's sister. Some of the experiences, I was published in a book, a 50 Women project that won awards from all over the world because I said yes to my calling. I wasn't ashamed. I didn't listen to everyone else, although sometimes it was scary. I didn't want to fit in that culture that told me you have to do ABC. I wanted to do ZWX, ladies, and I did. And there's two folds to this story. Number one, when you're guided to call, do you have a calling and you move forward despite of your circumstances? And by the way, during this time, my mom dies. She was my shiro, my hero. So the adversities never stopped during this time. But the most magical thing that ever happened, whew, this is the first time I share this story deeply. The most magical things that ever happened, ladies, are you ready? The day that I received the award from Women's Initiative on the stage at the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco among 200 or 300 amazing people and again, dignitaries, politicians, because it was just a really beautiful program that everybody supported at the time. It was sometimes in September, I want to say September 21st, if I'm not mistaken. That day that I was receiving the award, in January, that following year, 2010, I received my divorce papers. It took a while for us to get a divorce. And guess what was the date of the stamp of the judge that I'm officially divorced? The same day. Talk about paradox, right? The day I was free from him legally was the day I was on stage receiving the award for Women Business Owner of the Year that launched my business. Within a year and a half, I've had an event. It's no longer in my family room. It was in the Marriott Hotel in San Ramon. The guest was Dr. John Gray, the author of Men from Mars, Women from Venus. And this story is not about, it's about no matter what's happening in your circumstances in life, you have to follow your calling. And I've helped thousands and thousands of women ever since. I've helped hundreds of women leave abusive relationships, toxic relationships, not just in their partners or marriage, but in their life in general. And I've helped thousands of women also transform their lives, supporting them in any way possible because I followed that gift. And I won't be here if I got a job, ladies. And that's my story. And thank you for listening. Woof. Again, if there's anybody that would like to share any learning, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you all. Thank you. Anybody
Oh
else who wants
yes.
to
Oh yes.
share?
Now I want to talk. I was
Go ahead.
okay. Hello, ladies. My name's Anasuya, and I just I'm so grateful that I heard the full story. I've heard pieces of the story several times, but there's something about hearing the whole journey. Um, because I never heard the part about going to speak to a group that you actually belonged in. That girl, that is God is amazing.
Thank you,
I tell
Anastasia.
you, God is amazing. Because
Yeah,
we always get what we need, even if it looks like a Job experience, because you had a
yes,
Job experience.
yes, I
But what
did.
a gift it was to be cut off from everything that will continue to put you in place of your old identity,
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
your old way of looking at you, the old people that you ran with, the old people who knew you and therefore would have held you in a certain way as his wife. Mm,
Yeah. Thank you.
God is
Anastasia.
able. You
Yes, he
just are a
is. He
testimony.
is.
That's my emotions now. My mind saying, you demonstrated that there was a willingness to not die. I don't know, for me and many of my Job experiences, and I've been blessed to have so many. The first instinct is to like, that's it. Like there's some form of resignation and some form of like, like how can I just stay at this level and survive here? Like no, there's no getting up, there's no falling down and get back up. And
Yeah.
then of course I would. But so many people don't even find a way to when they choose to get up, when they choose to say there must be something else I can do, it must be something else I can be or go or talk to. They don't even find the resources around them because their environment or the people they're around or the world that they've been in doesn't empower that. There's no resources there for them
Yeah.
to even think of something. So, even that's a blessing.
Thank you so much. I so fully heard that. I fully heard that, and I love you. Anastasia is somebody I've recently met as well. We became friends and we hang out. And she's going to be coming over this Sunday. I'm having a little small group of women. Woo, woo, woo. I love you so much. Powerhouse. I only hang out with Powerhouse. All right, people. All right. Who else is, let's see. Nancy, are you still here, sweetheart? Oh, here you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. You wanted to share any feedback, anything you want to share today?
Well, this is my first time seeing you in action where you're leading other women in circle. And it was absolutely amazing to hear about your deep, soulful awakenings and trials and tribulations and the woman that you are. Because we talked about your mom and her path and how you're meant to lead that, right? And somewhere I realized that that was your commitment, that was your soul's contract, and
Yeah.
you had to come back to that. So it's so beautiful to see all
Thank
the,
you.
yeah.
Thank you. Well, Mancy and John is a colleague of mine for 15 years. John Block, some of you may or may not heard of him, but we are going to be working on collaborating because they hold a community of beautiful souls in San Diego. They have actually a beautiful place where people go, and they're also they do help others in that sense of belong to community. So we'll be collaborating. In fact, on the 8th, and I'll share this with everybody. I'll send a message. I'll send an email. On the 8th, I'll be speaking in their group, and it's going to be on belonging to community, because this is one of the talks that I love. How do we belong to community? So I will be sharing more about that. Nancy, I appreciate it. I'm going to be sending an email for everyone. And I look forward to our collaboration, sweetheart. Thank you. Is there anything else you want to quickly say before I want to do the invocation. I know we're running out of time. My story went a little bit longer, but I always want to hear from you. I always want to make sure everyone who is here to have the chance to speak, to share. Again, this is not just about me sharing, but it's a community and a collective. So I appreciate you always showing up. This is a very, and you know what people are saying? Why don't you make it 2 hours? Why don't you make it 2 hours? So much energy that I could only have. So it was conscious that I want to do it 90 minutes. So with that being said, for those of you who could stay, please do. I'm going to do an invocation about belonging. It's so beautiful. Activation. I keep calling it invocation. Activation about belonging. It's so beautiful just to anchor that within you. So stay. If you choose to leave or if you have to, because I honor your time, it's 10:25. And by the way, it's only going to take 5 minutes. So I think we'll be right. So stay with me. And here we go. We're going to create it. We're going to go ahead and share that. All right. Coming home to your self-activation. Now, if you're comfortable doing so, please gently close your eyes. Let's go ahead and take a slow, deep breath, coming back to ourselves. And gently let go. Take another deep breath and arrive in this moment right here, the place where you belong. Allow yourself to become present in this beautiful personal setting here today. And if you could hear the birds, they're with us as well. Bring to mind one experience from your life, one that has shaped you, shaped who you are. Perhaps it brought you joy. Perhaps it brought you pain. Maybe it changed the direction of your life. Bring it in without judgment. Simply honor it. Silently say to yourself, thank you for the wisdom. Take another deep, slow breath and release. Now imagine every experience you've ever had becoming a stepping stone, leading you closer and closer back home to yourself. Notice there is nothing you need to prove, nothing you need to earn, nothing you need to come back to, nothing for you or need to become. Only someone you are here to remember. Now, quietly or out loud, as long as you're muted, repeat after me. Today, I choose to honor my journey. Today, I choose to trust the wisdom of my life experiences. Today, I choose to release that need to compete, compare myself with another person or anybody else. Today, I choose to belong to myself. Today, I choose to come home to myself. Take one final deep breath and feel your feet on the ground. Feel your heart. Feel the peace that comes from remembering who you are. And when you are ready, gently bring your awareness back into the room, wiggling your fingers, your toes, whatever you need to do in order for you to become coming back here. When you're ready, open your eyes and welcome home. And just know, if you knew who walked beside you at all times on that path that you have chosen, you could never experience fear or doubt again, but only come home to yourself because you belong, as we all belong here in this beautiful universe, and no one will ever determine whether you belong or not. Your being here right now is proof enough that you belong. Always remember that. And when you're ready, come back. And here we are. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you for doing this activation. Thank you for being here, for those of you who showed up. Thank you for sharing this beautiful space with all of us. I love each and every one of you. And remember that your experiences belong to you. In July, we continue this journey and we'll be exploring the letter O. And you know what the letter O stands for? I can't tell you because I haven't got the download yet. But it's going to be magnificent. It's going to be magnificent. I allow it to come through me because that's my experience. Anybody else has anything to say before we leave? And then we'll wrap it up because I want to make sure everybody's voice is heard today. Everybody's voice is heard. We're good? Very good. Much love to all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. And then we will continue our journey together outside of this and back into here. You all belong. Thank you for everything.